Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight you're going to be joining me for a pretty casual sketching session. I've been wanting to film for a while, but have been procrastinating it because I had this vision of being able to film the entire process of like a beautiful, polished project, and that just didn't happen this month. And so I didn't want to put it off any longer. So I figured I would go ahead and just film me sitting down and working on this little sketch. You can see we're drawing one of the many teacups that I've collected over the years. This one is definitely one of my favorites. I just love the pattern on it, and I love the color scheme, the pinks, the purples, the greens. It's so springy, and I loved the little touches of gold. I have kind of an idea for this one about a collage I might put it in. I have some of these roses that I drew last summer that I've added a little bit of gold trim to. And so I think with the little touches of gold on this teacup, I think they might work in a piece together really well. But in general, I've been having a little bit of an art style crisis. I'm not exactly sure what I'm wanting my finished pieces to look like. But I know that at least for myself, kind of the only way to get through any sort of art block or art style crisis like that is just to keep working and keep drawing. And as I make more art, I start figuring it out and figuring out which bits I like and kind of what direction I want to move in. So I was feeling inspired to work on this teacup. As you can tell, I hold all of my pencil shavings in yet another teacup because I keep trying to find places and uses for all of the ones that I have. But I was feeling inspired to draw this teacup, and so figured I would sit down and film part of the process. As a sort of heads up, I will not finish this sketch in this video. This video is sped up. It's sped up about 2 times speed. So this was about 25 minutes or so of real-time drawing footage. So as I'm recording this voiceover, you might hear some little rummaging because I'm continuing to work on this sketch as I record this audio. But if you're interested in seeing the final product of it, I should have it finished at some point this weekend when I'm posting this. And you can definitely feel free to check it out on my Instagram. It'll be linked in the description. But I was feeling really inspired to draw this teacup because recently a friend and I went out for a proper afternoon tea service, which is something I've definitely been interested in for a long time, but I've never done before. Just because they're kind of fancy and they can be a little bit pricey. I had gotten the idea to do one or to go out for one a long time ago. You may or may not know, I live near Seattle, and in Ravenna there's a tea shop called Queen Mary's Tea Emporium, and they do a tea service, but I've never been into their restaurant building. I've only been into their teacup shop, and I think it's one of the most magical places in the city. You walk in and there's just the most beautiful rainbow array of all of these different teacups and saucers and teapots and tea sets and all of these different things. And the way that they've decorated the place, there are all of these giant flowers up on the wall around the ceiling. And it's just really charming. And of course, after my friend had moved out to Seattle, I had taken her there too, and we'd both kind of fallen in love with the place. And I was like, oh, sometime it would be really nice to go for an afternoon tea. But then, of course, life goes on. I kind of forgot about it. And then I had ended up going on a trip out to Issaquah, which isn't too far out of the city. It's maybe like a 30 to 40 minute drive from where I live south of Seattle. Not too far, but they have a little shopping village with all of these adorable little independent stores. And I had gone to meet a friend for a cup of coffee, and we were walking around just kind of seeing what all stores there were. And it kind of stumbled across this little tea shop by mistake. It's called Paisley's Tea Room in Issaquah. And I walked in, and it is just so beautiful. Of course, because it's a tea shop, there are teacups and teapots and doilies absolutely everywhere. But one of the most noticeable things you see when you go in is you walk in, and there are all of these strands of dried flowers hanging from the ceiling. Like, they're probably each around like 6 feet long. There's tall ceilings, and they're like clear strings hanging down with all of these dried flower buds like threaded onto them. And so they kind of look like they're floating in midair. It was so stunning to me that I ended up trying to recreate something similar in my own art studio. I had bought some dried flowers at the farmer's market and threaded them on some clear cord and hung them up from a curtain rod. And I really liked the effect, but truth be told, it's nothing compared to the effect of just all of those dried flowers hanging from the ceiling. It's just really stunning. And when I was in there, I had gotten a pastry and some coffee, I think, and it was really great, but I had seen that they did a formal tea service. So I kind of filed that away in the back of my mind. And then I ended up deciding to invite my friend to go for afternoon tea with me as kind of her Christmas present. That I would treat us both to an afternoon tea. And because life happens, January, right after the holidays, was feeling really busy, and so we didn't really get the chance to cash in on it until just this past weekend. But oh my goodness, it was so much fun. We finally got the chance to go. And this winter has been so so interesting for Seattle. It's really oscillated between being really sunny and the usual typical dreary rain. And I was really hoping we'd get some sun, but we weren't quite so lucky. And it was pretty gray and rainy, but in a way that also, I don't know, I think it added a little bit to like the coziness of a tea shop. And you have to duck into it from the rain, the walk from the car. But anyway, we made it to the tea shop, and oh my goodness, I've never done an afternoon tea, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I knew there would be tea, and I knew that they were going to bring out some sort of like little tower of assorted snacks. But the way that their menu is designed is they kind of allow themselves the freedom to change things up based on what ingredients are available and kind of what they're working on. So they don't give you like a specific list of every food that's going to be included in the tea service. And so I knew it was going to be a little bit of a surprise when we got there. And the first surprise was that my friend and I each got to choose our own entire pot of tea, which, let it be said that I'm not necessarily a tea drinker. Like any proper Seattleite, I much prefer coffee, but I don't mind tea. It's all right on occasion. But I ended up trying, they had a chocolate Earl Grey, which was really interesting, and I really did enjoy it. Oh, as I'm watching this footage back, I did want to pause and shout out this metallic gold pen. This is the Jelly Roll, Sakura Jelly Roll metallic gold, and I really love this one. I think it has a great sheen and it applies really easily. It's like a really liquidy pen, and it's not too expensive. But I did want to shout that out and recommend it. I'll try and remember to put a link to it in the description. Okay, back to tea. So we each got an entire pot of tea in like these really cute tea cozies to keep it hot for the whole service. I got a chocolate Earl Grey, and my friend got some kind of vanilla chai. They were both fantastic. And then they bring out the whole little tower, and on the bottom row is all like the savory things. So there were like croissants with prosciutto and cheese, and like the little cucumber cream sandwiches, and little like tomato mozzarella things, and like egg sandwiches, and like all the little tea sandwiches on the bottom. And then the second layer was scones and fresh fruit. And so it was cut up berries and apple slices, and then like English scones and fruit and cream scones. And then little cups of toppings for the scones. One was chantilly cream, and one was a lemon curd. And oh my goodness, they were so good. Everything was so good, but I especially loved like the scones with the cream and lemon curd. Incredible. And then on the top shelf were the like desserts. And so we each got a vanilla cupcake. There were these little heart-shaped shortbread cookies with caramel on top, and macarons, and this like layered fruity flavored cake. It was so much food, but it was all so incredible that like you couldn't help yourself. But it was just a really, really fun time. I'm so glad we got the chance to go. And I'm already kind of like scheming for what other special event can somehow get me back there. But it was a really fun time. While we were in Issaquah, I ended up picking up a couple of other nature items. I picked up a leaf and some lichen that I'll probably draw at some point. If you've tracked any of my art on Instagram at all, you'll know that I'm really big into observational nature drawing. And so for the whole month of October, I did my own little version of Inktober, where I drew a different leaf every day of the month, just different leaves that I found walking around town, walking to and from work. And even though my days of Leaftober are gone, every once in a while I still have the strong urge to pick up any interesting leaves I see on the ground. So I rescued a couple things that I'm hoping to draw pretty soon. I actually made a pretty recent purchase from Blick that I'm really excited about. I'm going to be using it as a nature journal. It's like a brand new sketchbook that I'm just going to nature journal in. And so I'm really excited to continue exploring that one. But yeah, I wanted to tell a little tea tale and share with you guys some drawing progress. So this is how far I got on this teacup in this drawing session, and I'm hoping to have it finished within a few days after posting this video. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the chance to just kind of sit down, chill out, maybe work on your own work. But it was great to see you. Thank you.